How are you, man? You're in America now. What's the story behind
Y-
that?
I got some family over here, so I've been spending some time over here, and just staying creative as well. Always creative, got lots of things going, but really right now it's family time, and um, yeah, like it's a developing time creatively, doing cool shit, taking cool courses. Let's call it an expansion time. Yeah, it's really
Okay.
good.
Froth Fury. Uh, you're one of the big boys on that lineup. Like you're one of the main names that's on that the list there. So how do you feel? Must be exciting.
Yeah, no, thanks, dude. No, look, I feel like Perth and Adelaide, we've been so good to Perth and Adelaide over the course of 10, 15 years, and they've been so good to us. So it's really nice to go back and actually play two festivals there. Other than this, I feel like Soundwave was like the only thing. Groove in the Moo kind of plays Adelaide. Like, well, yeah, it does. It does in a way. It's regional. But we've been on a couple of festivals that have gone there in the past, but Not Fest doesn't go there. So it just feels really right to be going there, having missed it on Not Fest. Yeah, man. I just feel like those two cities often get neglected so much by, the big stuff. So really nice that this festival really prioritizes those two places.
Yeah. And I mean, it's when we all know we know in Adelaide and certainly they know in Perth. A lot of it is cost elements that come involved as well. That sometimes it's
Mm.
just not feasible. But do you find then when you do come here, because I know you guys, when you came here, every time you drop an album, you're always through this neck of the woods. Do you find because we don't get what the East Coast gets, that Perth and Adelaide, the fans are a little different?
Um, yeah, not as spoilt for shows, so therefore there's a more regional mentality, which is like really appreciative of bands that do come through, as opposed to being spoilt for shows. I noticed that difference, but I can't say it's a numbers thing. It's like there's passion. There's a lot of passion. They're regional cities, let's be honest, like they really are. So that's the difference that I noticed. It's that passion. Yeah.
We don't have 3.5 million people in Adelaide, so
Yeah.
that makes sense. I mean,
Yeah.
we approached it a little bit earlier, and it was one of the questions I was going to ask. Because I mean, going from regional as well, the last thing that I get that you guys did was Townsville. Was a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
Um, so what has been happening, not just for Jake Taylor, but also for In Heart's Wake in that time frame?
We are always like I feel like we're always busy. We do have personal lives, which is really good to take the time outside of festivals and touring to like make sure we honor our relationships and things. So that's definitely a priority right now because when it's on, and we give it our all. That being said, we don't just put it on ice. We're definitely creating. Don't know what it's for necessarily, but we're still using the time to not just be fully downtime. So no matter where we are in the world, we're always working on stuff. And with these festivals coming, it's an opportunity, to either launch a new cycle or play something new, or just like really lean into like making the set the best it can be, given the fact that those crowds missed out on that Not Fest sort of, and Townsville got it, but like us showing what we do on the big stage, you
Yeah.
know? So this time, yeah, it's developing that show. It's just keeping the muscles active.
My next question actually was, and you touched on it again a bit there, was about you have the big show that's on the festival, and I was at Knotfest Melbourne, so I saw you guys there as well. Um, how do you approach festivals differently from how you approach, say, last time I think you were in Adelaide, you played the Gov. Like, how do you approach them differently?
I think speaking to the crowd is how you address a crowd, knowing that they're not all your fans. That naturally just becomes a byproduct of the energy. It's not something I plan for, but that's just an awareness that's there. When it comes to the set, yeah, you have to be mindful of like, you can try and just play all the favorites or whatever, but like there are new fans, new people being exposed to your band. So put the stuff that you also feel really confident in playing, even if it might not be the greatest hit that everyone's going to sing along to, because it's still being experienced for the first time. And how we are on stage forget what the crowd does. It's how we are on stage. Often like chicken or the egg. That is that seems to be the heartbeat that then emanates outwards. I'm noticing, rather than relying on the bangers for the crowd to sell it. It's like what we do. So I feel like that's a really big shift. What material we're choosing to play.
You feel then it's kind of like not so much that you're fighting to win them over, but you're fighting to make sure that you just give the best version of yourselves, regardless of who's there.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, you could call it best version, but it's like it's taking risks too, like which is just creatively where you are. You want to create creativity is meant to be on the edge. I feel like it can't just be like a warm hug. It's got to push and challenge a little bit at least, because that's creativity has to be ahead of the curve. So whether that's something that's happening on stage, whether it's the song choice, or whether it's what's said, it's really important, because we're in really uncomfortable times and we need change, and creativity is that kind of thing that needs to be you know ideally ahead of the curve, or just on it.
Hmm.
So there's not a fighting to win over anything. It's more just like what do we feel is right for us.
In regards, I mean, you've used the word quite a bit in this conversation about creativity. I mean, your last album, Incarnation, there was a lot of creativity that was in there. There was a concept that was in there, and of course, it was also a the end of a cycle, I suppose, because Kyle had moved
Mm.
on. You took on more of the vocals in that aspect, which then made the sound a bit heavier. Is is there any inkling of what then comes next in that respect?
um yeah, like I think there'll be an element of carrying on for sure, like carrying on that element of heaviness. Because naturally, when you don't have someone doing a falsetto, really soft song, it's not going to happen, right? So that becomes a byproduct of it. Um, so that'll happen. I have a feeling like the music will be more of a voice instrumentally, like the guitar, things like that can hold space when perhaps in the past maybe they were just really solid bedrocks for vocals. So yeah, more jam parts, more giving some real space and spotlight on the instrumentation. I think is really important. But naturally, I can't help but feel like heavy music right now is needed. And by
Mhm.
heavy, I mean heavy. There's not a lot of love. Don't get me wrong, it's nice to have joy and fun and things like that. Right now, it feels like we're really needing to, like, that's why the crowds are turning up in the thousands across the world for this genre, because
Yeah.
there's so much to scream about and herald change to and be pissed about. So yeah.
I mean, it, I mean, you're in America at the moment. I don't know how long you've been there. I mean,
Yeah.
we all know that everybody in the world watches America, and you've always prided yourself as well of being very conscientious of the environment and society as well. I mean, what's I mean, you're there at the moment. What's it like? Like from here, it looks like a shit show, America.
Yeah, it's a hustle. I'd say it's a hustle. It's a modern version of it's a Wild West. It always was. As soon as the invaders came to this place, it became the Wild West, and it still is the Wild West. At the end of the day, like, just the sheriff badges are on different people, and it's hard to tell who the bank robbers are, you know. But really, it's like it's just that's what's going on, and with the rise of tech and all these other things that either can be our aid or or an ally or our enemy, basically are being weaponized, and division, and it's a lot of overwhelm. It can be a lot of mess, but it still is incredible in a study, in a sense, if we can just remove ourselves from the judgment of it and see, like, wow, like, this is what's happening. So yeah, it feels like a lot to be in it, but to take a step back and just be an observer, there's actually a lot of really interesting things to write about, and a lot of fuel for the fire, potentially. Yeah, really. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd imagine you've got a front row seated to just writing
Yeah.
shit down all day long about it. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah, I really do. Really, really feeling like it's where I'm meant to be right now. Yeah,
nice.
creatively, for sure.